Dangerous dreams that Ellen White warned us never to ignore emerge like whispers in the silence of the night, where reality and eternity collide and the human soul is left unguarded in the hidden corridors of sleep. What if the visions that come uninvited are not harmless fragments of imagination, but urgent warnings engraved in symbols too weighty to be dismissed? What if ignoring them is not simply neglect, but a step into a destiny one never chose? There are dreams that soothe and pass away like shadows, and there are dreams that cling to the conscience like fire branded into flesh. Ellen White spoke of these perilous visitations not as curiosities, but as turning points, moments where heaven itself places a mirror before the soul, yet most turn away, closing their eyes to the danger of what they have seen. What if the images that disturb your rest were never meant to fade, but to awaken? The world teaches that sleep is escape, yet in those silent hours the veil thins and another voice begins to speak, a voice that does not flatter nor indulge, but exposes the unspoken cravings and the hidden decay. Ellen White declared that such dreams are never accidents. They are alarms that cut through complacency, but who dares to listen? Who dares to ask what unseen hand painted the symbols that now haunt the mind? Each warning unheeded becomes a chain, unseen yet heavy. Dreams are the battlefield where invisible forces contend for the soul. Some dismiss them as madness, others excuse them as stress, but Ellen White insisted they are revelations wrapped in disguise, riddles whose answers demand courage. For every image carries a consequence, and every silence carries a cost. How many destinies have been sealed because a dream was ignored? How many lives drift into ruin while the warning was still echoing in the night? And now you stand on the threshold of secrets that cannot be postponed. Every question you feel rising inside you will either be silenced by denial or ignited by the truth that waits within this very story. So let the journey continue, but before it does, make sure you are not walking alone. Subscribe to this channel, activate the bell, and leave your like, for every gesture of support strengthens the voice that dares to unveil what others conceal, and only then will I be able to bring more revelations that pierce the darkness and keep the flame alive. The path into these dangerous dreams is never straight. It coils like a serpent through the corridors of memory, pulling forgotten fragments into the present until the heart can no longer remain indifferent. Ellen White described them as more than mere night visions. They are thresholds, doors left ajar through which light or darkness can enter. Who dares to step closer, knowing that on the other side waits not entertainment but revelation? Every soul has felt the sting of such a dream, the kind that clings to the chest long after dawn has broken, whispering its meaning in silence. Yet the common voice of the world says, forget it, it was nothing. But what if in forgetting one buries the very warning that could have altered their destiny? What if the memory we dismiss is the very thread heaven wove to prevent our fall? The danger lies not in the dream itself, but in the heart that refuses to listen. Symbols come cloaked in shadows because truth is often unbearable when spoken plainly. Ellen White understood this, that warnings must pierce through resistance, like thunder breaking complacency, and so the dream becomes a mirror, reflecting not what we want to see, but what we must confront. Imagine for a moment that what you dismissed last night was not random, but orchestrated, a pattern woven by divine intent. Imagine that the unease you felt was not confusion, but conviction. Suddenly the dream transforms from an inconvenience into an invitation, a plea to awaken. And still, many close their eyes once more, pretending not to notice the call that shakes their very core. There are those who fear the ridicule of speaking of dreams, as if silence could protect them from judgment. But silence becomes its own prison. Ellen White spoke with urgency. To ignore is to consent. To dismiss is to choose blindness. The dream is not asking to be understood in one night. It is asking to be remembered, wrestled with, prayed over. And perhaps, in hearing these words, something stirs within you, an echo of a dream you buried. Do not silence it again. Let it rise. Let it question, let it haunt, for it may not be your enemy. It may be your last safeguard. And if this reflection awakens something inside you, leave a comment below. Share if you too have ever faced a dream that would not let you go. Your voice may be the confirmation another soul desperately seeks. The spiral of meaning deepens with every step, and though fear presses against the heart, fear is not the end, is the beginning of sight. To see what was once hidden requires courage, but courage is born when one realizes they are not alone in the struggle. These dreams remind us of the eternal war waged in silence, and of the divine hand that seeks to guide even in shadows. So pause for a breath, not to escape but to steady yourself, for what lies ahead will only grow more intense. The questions will sharpen, the symbols will cut deeper, and the unease will give way to clarity. Stay close, stay awake, for this journey has only begun, and the next step may demand more than you expect. There is a reason why Ellen White never treated dreams lightly, for she knew they were not fragments of chance, but fragments of eternity pressing against time. A dream may seem small, but a seed is also small, and yet within it lies a forest waiting to unfold. Who dares to treat lightly the seed that could either heal or poison the soul? Some dreams arrive like gentle whispers, others like storms that shatter the stillness of night. But whether tender or terrifying, they are never empty. They are messengers, wrapped in imagery The conscious mind cannot easily resist or explain away. To dismiss them is to refuse the letter before it is even opened. Would you burn a letter addressed to you without reading it simply because its seal was strained? And yet how often do we laugh at what we do not understand, shielding ourselves with mockery as if ridicule could erase the truth? But laughter fades and the image remains, etched deeper with every attempt to forget. Ellen White warned that to resist these whispers is to resist the very spirit who strives for the salvation of the soul. Can anyone afford such resistance? There are patterns to these dreams, rhythms that repeat until the heart begins to take notice. They may come in symbols of falling, of fire, of pursuit, of doors opening or closing. They may bring faces long forgotten or voices that call in the stillness. Each image is a cipher, and together they form a message, one that grows louder when ignored. But the human heart loves comfort more than truth, and so many retreats hiding behind explanations that soothe but do not satisfy. Stress, coincidence, the wandering of the mind, so we say, yet deep within, the unease lingers. The question remains, what if it was more? What if it was meant for me? Such questions, once awakened, are not easily silenced. Perhaps you feel that pull now, even as these words echo within you. Do not turn away. Engage with this journey, for each step you take into awareness strengthens the chain of meaning. And if this resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, not as routine, but as a declaration that you refuse to ignore the voice that calls in the night. The danger is subtle, because danger is often disguised as nothing at all. The true peril is not the dream itself, but the slumber of the spirit, the refusal to awaken. Ellen White saw with clarity that the most tragic fate is not to be visited by warning, but to receive it and cast it aside as if it were dust. Dust can be swept away, but destiny cannot. So linger here. Let the tension stretch and pull, for what waits ahead is not mere knowledge, but unveiling. The spiral draws you inward, deeper into recognition, deeper into accountability. The dream is not a passing shadow. It is a lamp, a fire, and sometimes a wound. And if you dare to keep listening, you may find that the wound itself becomes the path to healing. There are dreams that arrive clothed in beauty, yet behind their charm lies a question too heavy to ignore. They may show gardens full of light, yet in the corner of the vision lurks a shadow that unsettles the soul. Ellen White taught that such contrasts are not accidents. They are revelations of the war within, the conflict between the whisper of heaven and the lure of darkness. Which voice will you heed when both sing in the night? Some visions return again and again, like waves that never tire of striking the same shore. The repetition is not coincidence, it is persistence. Heaven does not waste words, nor does it abandon the stubborn heart without struggle. If the same dream comes to you more than once, it is not because your mind is weak, but because your spirit is being pursued. And pursuit is not cruelty, it is mercy in disguise. But mercy often feels like torment when the heart resists. The images disturb sleep, the questions pierce the waking hour, and the conscience trembles beneath the weight of what has been revealed. Many flee from such unrest, but flight does not cancel the call. It only delays the moment of reckoning, stretching the tension until it snaps with even greater force. Think of the countless souls who once dismissed a dream, only to look back with sorrow when the warning proved true. Ellen White spoke of such tragedies with tears, urging that no dream sent by heaven should be mocked, neglected, or silenced. For silence can cost more than discomfort. It can cost eternity itself. And yet how quickly the human heart drifts back into forgetfulness. Dawn rises, routine consumes, and what was once burning becomes ash. But ashes still whisper of the fire that birthed them, and even in the dust of neglect, the spirit continues to stir. Will you remember, or will you bury again what was given for your salvation? Perhaps right now, as you hear these words, a memory returns, a vision you once ignored but could never fully forget. Do not keep it locked away this time. Share it below in the comments, not as a confession of weakness, but as an act of courage. Your words may be the mirror in which another soul sees their own hidden warning. The truth is that dreams are not merely for the individual. They are woven into a greater tapestry, connecting lives, choices, and destinies. What you carry in silence might be the missing piece of another's struggle, and what another reveals might complete your own. Ellen White understood that heaven works in patterns that ripple outward, touching more than the dreamer. So as the journey deepens, do not think of this as passive listening. This is participation in something greater, a call to awaken together. To remain silent is to remain isolated, but to engage is to strengthen the chain of light that binds souls against the encroaching darkness. Stay present, for the path is about to cut even deeper. Some dreams do not shout. They whisper so faintly that only the attentive heart can hear. Yet Ellen White declared that the quietest warnings are often the most urgent because they slip past the noise of life and settle directly into the conscience. What is more dangerous, a storm that breaks loudly or a silent flame that burns unnoticed until the house collapses in fire? The enemy of the soul thrives on neglect. He does not need you to deny the dream. He only needs you to delay its meaning until the moment of awakening is too late. Delay becomes decay, and decay becomes death. That is why every symbol matters, every image has weight, and every night holds the possibility of a message meant to rescue rather than consider the dream of standing at a closed gate, hearing voices on the other side but unable to pass through. To many it seems meaningless, yet Ellen White would say it is the soul confronting eternity, pressed against the barrier of its own choices. How many have awakened from such a vision, only to shrug and walk away, never realizing that heaven itself was pleading through the imagery of the mind? Others see fire consuming without mercy, or floods rising higher and higher, threatening to drown all that is cherished. These are not random nightmares. They are symbolic alarms. Fire burns away the illusions we cling to. Water rises to reveal what we cannot control. In both, the message is clear. Your foundation is shaking. Where will you stand when the flood comes? And still the heart hesitates, preferring comfort to confrontation. But comfort has never saved a soul. Only truth does. Ellen White insisted that the refusal to heed a dream is not neutral, it is a decision, a turning away from the voice of mercy. The dream is not the danger. The indifference is. If these words touch something within you, pause and let the weight settle. Do not brush it aside as passing thought. Let the reflection deepen. And if it does, let your support be visible. Share this video so that others may be awakened as you are being awakened now. Perhaps the very act of sharing is itself part of your obedience to the call. For every dream speaks not only to you, but through you. Its echo reaches farther than you realize. Your silence may keep another in darkness, while your courage may lead them toward light. To hide the vision is to starve its power, but to reveal it is to multiply its. Which choice will you make? The spiral continues inward, pressing closer to the heart of the matter. With each step, denial becomes harder, excuses sound weaker, and the truth grows stronger. Do not resist the gravity pulling you deeper. It is not seeking to destroy you, but to awaken you. And once awakened, there is no return to sleep. There are dreams that tear the veil of time, carrying the soul into moments not yet lived but already unfolding. Ellen White spoke of such visions as glimpses of destiny, warnings wrapped in mystery so that the heart might prepare before the storm breaks. To dismiss them is to walk blindfolded toward the cliff, laughing at the echo of the abyss until the ground disappears beneath the feet. Sometimes the dream shows a familiar face, someone lost, someone distant, someone whose story has already ended. The encounter feels real, too real to be illusion. Is it merely memory, or is it the cry of unfinished business echoing through eternity? Ellen White would say it is not the dead who speak, but the spirit who stirs memory to awaken the conscience. For the living are still writing their story, and the warning is for them alone. Other dreams bring a voice with no face, a word without a speaker, yet the weight of the message cannot be ignored. Return, await, choose. Simple words, but sharper than any sword, cutting through layers of denial and distraction. These are the moments when eternity leans close, whispering through the fragile channel of sleep what it could not reach in the noise of waking life. And what of the nightmares that leave you trembling, heart racing, unable to shake the fear? Many dismiss them as nothing but the mind's chaos, yet Ellen White insisted that even fear can be a teacher. The terror you feel may be the soul recoiling at its own peril, the spirit crying out in recognition of danger unseen by the waking eyes. Fear may be the hand that pulls you back from the edge, but here lies the tragedy. Most awaken, comfort themselves with reason, and bury the dream beneath routine. Morning comes and the fire cools until the memory fades into dust. Yet dust has a way of clinging to the soul, returning in quiet hours, demanding attention once more. Will you ignore it again, or will you finally face what refuses to be silenced? Perhaps as you listen now, an image returns unbidden, a dream you thought long forgot. Let it rise, write it down, speak it aloud, or if you dare, share it here in the comments. Your voice may not only free you, but also awaken someone walking the same path. And if this reflection resonates, do not pass silently. Subscribe and let the bell remind you of every new step we take together into hidden truth. For silence has always been the ally of darkness, while testimony is the weapon of light. To speak is to resist, to remember is to fight, and to act is to live. Ellen White knew that dreams are not just for the night, they are seeds that demand cultivation in the day. Neglect them and they wither. Honor them and they bloom into guidance. The journey deepens still. Each dream is a riddle, each riddle a key, each key a door leading further into the mystery. And the deeper one goes, the more impossible it becomes to pretend ignorance. The path presses forward and the call grows louder. Stay close, for what is coming will shake the ground beneath your very soul. There are dreams that do not vanish with dawn, but follow like shadows through the day, lingering in every thought and every silence. Ellen White taught that these are not accidents of memory, but burdens placed upon the soul until the message is faced. The longer one tries to escape, the heavier the weight becomes, until even ordinary moments seem haunted by echoes of the night. Some resist by drowning themselves in distraction, filling their hours with noise so the whisper of the dream cannot be heard. But noise cannot erase truth, it only muffles it. In the stillness, the vision returns, sharper than before, more demanding, less forgiving. Silence is not your enemy. It is the stage upon which heaven speaks most clearly. Will you continue running, or will you stop and listen? At times the dream is not only for warning, but for revelation. It may peel back the mask you wear in waking life, exposing the secret longings, the hidden fears, the silent compromises. Few dare to face such exposure, yet Ellen White declared that heaven unmasks only to heal. To see your reflection in the dream is to see the part of yourself you have long denied, and to deny it further is to wound your soul. But every unveiling demands a choice, either to remain blind and comfortable, or to endure the discomfort of transformation. The dream does not simply ask, "What have you done?" It demands, "What will you do now?" That question cannot be ignored forever. It waits at every turn and every breath, pressing until an answer is given. How often has the spirit whispered through dreams, only to find the heart closed and the ear deaf? Yet still mercy persists, sending vision after vision, knock after knock, until the door finally opens, or remains sealed forever. Do not wait for the final knock that never comes. The time to awaken is always now, never tomorrow. If this truth is stirring something in you, let it not pass without response. Take a moment to give this video a like, not as routine, but as an act of agreement that you will not dismiss what heaven has placed before you. Small gestures awaken deeper courage. Courage grows when shared. For every act of attention strengthens the voice within, while every act of neglect weakens it. The dream is not a passing cloud. It is a storm waiting to break. Whether it brings destruction or renewal depends on how you receive it. Ellen White warned that eternity itself may hinge on the way we treat the visions we are given. And so the spiral tightens once again, pulling you closer, demanding more than curiosity, asking for surrender. You cannot walk backward now. You have seen too much, heard too much, remembered too much. What comes next will not only challenge your perception, but may alter the course of your life. Prepare, for the unveiling has not reached its end. The final layer of these dangerous dreams is the one that confronts the soul with choice. The crossroads that only you can see and only you can walk. Ellen White spoke of this with urgency, for she knew that the greatest peril lies not in the vision itself, but in the hesitation to act upon it. Every unanswered question, every dismissed warning becomes a weight pressing deeper into the heart. Some dreams carry shadows of what could have been, paths left unexplored, words unsaid, loves abandoned, duties ignored. They replay with a persistence that refuses comfort, demanding recognition of the truths we avoid. How many lives have quietly unraveled because the message was set aside, hidden beneath daily distraction until the moment for change had passed? Yet even in the darkness there is mercy. The dream that shakes you awake is also the lamp that guides. It illuminates the hidden corridors of your spirit, revealing the places where courage, faith, and discernment must grow. Ellen White insisted that these visions are invitations, not punishments, opportunities, not curses, but only if we choose to engage. And now, as you listen, you may feel the stirrings of recognition, an echo of a dream you once ignored or a fear you have carried silently. Do not turn away. Let the weight of the vision press upon your conscience, and let it awaken the vigilance your soul has long needed. If this speaks to you, leave a comment, share your reflection, or connect with someone who might also be listening. Engagement is part of the journey, and your voice strengthens the circle of awareness. Some dreams are doors, some are warnings, and some are mirrors. They show not only what is coming, but what already exists within you. The question is not only what the dream intends, but what you will do with it. Will you walk bravely into the understanding, or retreat into familiar illusions that provide temporary comfort but lasting regret? Ellen White's words remind us that these dreams are sacred, not frivolous. They are divine interventions, coded messages for the soul that cannot be ignored without consequence. And yet the very act of remembering, reflecting, and responding transforms the weight of fear into the force of clarity. Every moment spent denying the dream is a moment lost. Every moment spent embracing it is a step toward light. So feel the gravity of what has been revealed. Let the visions, symbols, and questions press in until they can no longer be denied. And as you navigate this awakening, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, for these revelations continue only when the voice is supported and shared. Like this video if the call resonates. For every gesture of attention strengthens the bridge between the unseen and the conscious. The spiral has led you here, and though the next steps remain unseen, the path has already begun to shape itself in your mind. Each moment of engagement, each acknowledgement of the dream's urgency, is part of the preparation. The unveiling continues beyond what can be seen or spoken, and only those who remain present will grasp its full measure. The echoes of the dreams you have journeyed through do not fade. They linger in the corners of the mind, in the pauses between thoughts, in the quiet places where truth can no longer be ignored. Ellen White whispered that these visions are not endings, but invitations. And now the weight of what you have seen settles like a pulse beneath your skin, urging recognition. Can you feel the thread connecting your soul to the unseen? A line drawn not in space, but in destiny itself? Symbols once fleeting now return with clarity, dancing in your awareness, revealing patterns you were blind to before. The shadows you feared are not merely obstacles, but mirrors, reflecting what you must face to move forward. And in their reflection you may glimpse the courage hidden beneath the layers of doubt, the strength that only becomes visible when the night is deepest. The questions planted along this path rise again, but they no longer feel threatening. They hum with purpose, vibrating at a frequency that awakens thought, conviction, and subtle understanding. What will you do with the echoes? Which truths will you carry into the day? Each moment of hesitation has already passed, yet the call persists. insistent and patient, waiting for the soul willing to answer. And in that answer lies transformation, not dramatic or loud, but quiet, intimate, and irrevocable. It is the turning of perception, the gentle rearrangement of what you thought was known. To recognize the hidden warning is to stand at the edge of eternity and take a breath of clarity. You are not the same as when the journey began. Something has shifted, and even silence now feels charged with meaning. Perhaps you sense it now. A spark that refuses to be named. A stirring that demands action without command. This is the gift of the vision, and it asks nothing less than presence. If your heart is moved, do not keep this moment to yourself, like this video is a testament to your awakening. Comment below the phrase, "Only those who journeyed to the end will know." I saw what whispers in the night can reveal. Share it, and in doing so, connect with the circle of others who have felt the same pull, the same urgency. Subscribe, activate the bell, and join this unfolding story, not out of obligation, but because your participation is the natural continuation of the awakening you have just experienced. Every gesture of engagement strengthens the bridge between the hidden and the conscious, between the dream that stirred you and the life you are now poised to live. Those who act now are not merely viewers, they are seekers, witnesses, participants in a larger truth that continues to pulse beyond the screen. Carry this spark with you as you step back into the world, for the vision does not end when the video does. Its echoes will rise in unexpected moments, in quiet hours, in choices you thought were ordinary. You are special because you stayed until the last frame, because you dared to confront what others ignore. Let the whisper linger. Let it guide. Let it remind you always that the unseen is never idle, and the soul that listens is never alone.